So here we go. The first step in the process of developing your leadership philosophy is what we call your leadership statement. Again, your leadership statement it's a succinct way to describe or explain what you think leadership is all about. Because you got to think about it. When you're a leader, you're going to often be put into situations where you're dealing with people maybe you've never worked with before. You may be in situations where you're dealing with people who have a whole lot more experience than you. But the bottom line is your ability to lead them is really what's going to make the difference in your success. So we think that having this statement is a great way for you to get it clear in your own mind, but also we think it's a great way to help you communicate with others. So the first thing I want you to think about is what's a thesis sentence, if you will, if you were going to write a paper about leadership, what would be the sentence that would sort of encapsulate your concepts about leadership? That's one way to think about it. Another thing to think about it is people who you really admire. I've always been a fan of Winston Churchill. I've always been a fan of Martin Luther King. Well, maybe there's something from their background or something they said that really reflects what leadership means to me. Well, I'm going to give you my statement. My leadership statement, it took me about 2 years to settle on this, and I've had this statement for almost 20 years now. And it's this: it's using the work to develop the people. That's my leadership philosophy in a statement. Well, what does that mean, Derek? Well, here's what that means. Now, again, this is just me, but for me, I'm actually more interested in how I help other people grow than I even am interested in how we get the result. Because I've sort of found that if you develop the people in the right way at the right time, you typically get the result you want. Not always. But once again, I'm a person who believes that it's much more about the people I'm working with than it is the work I'm doing. Because the way I like to say it is, when I have a funeral, and I'm pretty sure I'll have a funeral one day, there probably won't be any monthly reports at my funeral. There probably won't be any leadership awards. There's going to be people there. So that's why my leadership philosophy is all about developing people. But that's just one example. So again, I want you to think about this statement. This is not something that you have to feel that you can't change. Your statement may grow over time. It may change over time. I know there are a lot of popular leaders out there, people like John Maxwell, people like T.D. Jakes on maybe the spiritual front. I've long been a fan of what Jack Welch did at GE from a business standpoint. So my point is, there are all kinds of examples out there for you, but at the end of the day, this statement says to the world, this is what I think leadership is all about. So the last thing I'll tell you is this. I want you to really spend some time, I'm talking maybe a half hour or an hour or so, really thinking through what this means. Because this could be something that helps you guide people for years to come. This could be something that you wind up teaching to hundreds of people who are part of your team or are part of your organization. So again, the first step in the process is your leadership statement. And again, I think as we go through every step in this roadmap, you're going to see how important that really is.